if the spot price, the paper's futures price and whatnot is $100 on silver or 5,000 on gold, right? But if you go over to Shanghai, they're paying you more for the spot. It's causing a draining that's occurring right now within the LBMA vaults. How do I know this? Well, I've worked very closely with an LBMA member, and their whole thing is storing physical metals, transporting physical metals. They're one of the only companies in the world that do everything in-house.
Strap in for Kelleran's Corner right here on ESW.
All right. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, folks. It's the one and only V the Gorilla coming to you live on this edition of Rogue News, ESW Rogue News. And folks, you can find us over at exitstrategyworld.com, exitstrategyworld.com. Also, guys, here's the deal real quick, and check out our paid sponsors, algofactory.tech. And there's a free Algo giveaway. The link is in the description box. Make sure you check it and take advantage of this offer. Algofactory.tech. Learn to trade like a hedge fund pro, so you get all that energy market updates here, and then go learn how to trade it over at algofactory.tech.
Yeah, we also have Ben's information in there as well, Contrarian Corner. Go over to his Substack. Take a look at that. Subscribe, all that stuff, all in the description.
But anyway, we have the man of the hour who needs no introduction, of course. I'm talking about the prolific Ben Kelleran himself. He is the energy trader in terms of understanding the energy markets, where things are going. Why energy is so important? It's the lifeblood of the economy, and every single foreign policy is centered upon that. It is the true currency of kings, my friend, is energy. And with that being said, folks, you can find all the links in the description box. Kelleran's Corner, Ben Kelleran, check him out. Ben, good morning, buddy. How are you?
Morning. It's been an interesting couple of weeks, but thanks for having me back on. There's lots of stuff going on, and we got the Chinese New Year, so they're out of commission as far as financial markets for a bit. So we'll see if we get some volatility in the metals markets. But I think it's going to be interesting to see how things line up over the next couple months for gold, silver, platinum, all these different things. But also, I think we're starting to see signs that the first half of this year is going to be like a turning point for energy. So we can get into all that. Lots of different stuff on my mind. So yeah, I think you guys might find the podcast I put up this morning interesting. It was with commodities trader in Switzerland. He has experience like working with base metals, some different things from kind of all over the place, South Africa. And we got into a bunch of different things from the geopolitical side to where he sees kind of opportunities in the commodities market. But I think moving on to the kind of news of the day, what's going on with the gold and silver, I'll share my screen here. I think we got a ways to go for just going sideways for a bit for gold and silver, or kind of chopping in range. I think there's a lot of interested parties that would be excited to see like somewhere in the 50s again. But I mean, we'll kind of see how it all shakes out. For gold, kind of the same deal, where my guess is sideways action for a bit. Platinum, like, I mean, look, if you have a long-term view on this, like if you're not looking to buy here or looking to buy at 1,800 or whatever your price point is, like I still think this is going to 5,000 an ounce, if not more, over time. So I think it's definitely a buying opportunity. I think it makes sense to be a little bit patient on some of these things. So I
wanted to interject here.
Yeah.
V, you're the resident metals, like you're the person who actually is involved in the market in no small way. Now, there's a lot of talk about,
rumor
China.
has it I'm probably the biggest dog in the yard, but go ahead.
Doggy style. So as far as like Chinese New Year, now a lot of buying pressure is coming from China on metals. And with China being shut down, a lot of analysts are saying, oh, well, it might be that other parties interested in keeping the price low might take advantage of that lack of buying pressure coming from China. So what do you think of that? Do you think that's just a bunch of talk, or do you think there's something to it?
I'm glad you asked that question. On the paper side, yes. On the physical side, no. As the Chinese New Year progresses and people by the beginning of the first week of March is when they all get back, they start, crawling back into the offices and the factories and whatnot. one of the biggest things in the Chinese New Year is gift giving. And this year, one of the biggest gifts that is being brought and given to people is actually gold. They do that every single year. Okay. So on the physical side, no. On the paper side, in the Western markets, the answer is yes. So it's double-sided. For now, and the paper price is being dictated still by the LBMA, the London Bullion Market Association, for gold. And then I forgot the name of the company that's in New York, actually, that actually sets the silver price twice a day. Jack something. Anyway, it escapes me. So the paper's prices, yeah. So this all continues as it goes on, and I'm telling you right now, once the Chinese New Year is over and the traveling and all that thing is done, and then the financial markets in China fire up again, this is going to be the lull. This is going to be a buying period. Like what Ben said, it's a great time to buy. This is going to 5,000. This is going to 6,000. This is going to $7 and $8 and $9 and $10,000. We will be at testing $7,000 by mid to late April. You know, we will be testing 5K in March and surpassing it. And I think now is a great opportunity. And it's not investment advice, but it's a great opportunity to buy some metal. And like what Ben brought it up a few times as well. Look at platinum. It's a sleeping giant, folks. It's a sleeping giant. It's the most thinly traded metal on God's green earth amongst the precious metals. The most thinly traded, the most constricted of supply, one of the most heavily used in industrial applications at a very high tech level. So, take with that what you will.
Yeah, I guess one sort of follow-up question I have is there's been a lot of chatter about the March, like physical delivery, people standing for delivery in March, and how much that would potentially drain the kind of vaults, basically. Do you have a view on where kind of that leads, if that's going to be kind of the push towards price discovery, as people realize like, hey, there's not enough silver to go around? Yeah,
correct. 100%. That's exactly what's going to happen, because if the price if the spot price, the paper's futures price and whatnot is let's just say, just for argument's sake, $100 on silver, or 5,000 on gold, right? But if you go over to Shanghai, they're paying you more for the spot, right? And if you notice that, it's causing a draining that's occurring right now within the LBMA vaults. How do I know this? Well, I've worked very closely with an LBMA member who is in the procurement and logistics business, and their whole thing is storing physical metals, transporting physical metals. They're one of the only companies in the world that do everything in-house. So when they're saying that, hey guys, at large purchases at an institutional level, we are 8 weeks out, 10 weeks out, no metal anywhere for anyone. I've never seen it like this. Like, there's nothing. If somebody wants to place a $50 million order for gold, he's going to be waiting the same wait as the guy who's trying to make a $5 million purchase of gold and silver. It's the same wait.
That's chump change for some of these institutions too.
Yep, exactly. So that's where we are right now, man. It's like physicals being drained. So the draining of the physical is going to cause eventually a divorce from the LBMA, because already the questions are, look, LBMA, hey, guess what, guys? You guys are not the real, depository of metals. You don't have as much as Shanghai. You're not the ones who are really setting the actual price based on actual physical. You're just making a paper price. So why are you guys controlling the game? And then secondly, over the course of a few years, we've had, I think, one of the biggest Chinese banks, ICCIP, one of these large Chinese banks, one of the biggest in the world. They became an LBMA member a few years ago, right when the Shanghai metals exchange was coming online. So the Chinese played it very strategically. So the question becomes, the world's looking at it. LBMA has no metals. All these Wall Street banks that moonlight as bullion banks, and I can't mention one of them because I'd get in trouble. I'll tell you guys, off the air, but I can't mention it on the air. These guys are front running, and these are household names. They're front running as bullion banks that they are, we'll carry the gold, we'll sell the gold, this, that, and the other. Well, they don't have any physical, and whatever physical they have, nobody really trusts it. So we're seeing a divorce between the papers market and the physical market. And like what Ben said, that's what's going to cause real price discovery to occur. Because it's like the people that are in charge of the pricing have no gold. That's like me being I don't know, like I'm like that's like De Beers having no call on or no say on what the price of a diamond is. It's insanity, right? Imagine if De Beers had no more diamonds, but they're setting the price on diamonds. You'd be like, who are you guys? You have no diamonds, but you're setting the price on diamonds. Same thing occurs for the metals.
He who has the gold makes the rules, right?
Absolutely. 100%.
That's where I think we're headed. And it's going to be an interesting time. I think there's a lot of there's a lot of talk about where it's going to go in the short term, medium term. And I mean, I don't have a strong view on 1 week, 2 week. I do think this is better time to buy than when you're having like explosive moves to the upside as far as where it's going. But the other thing I wanted to kind of show is a recent news announcement from this weekend. I have a screen share there if you want. Basically, for $4.3 billion, Wheaton Precious Metals bought a stream on a mine in South America. It's just a massive, it produces copper and other things, not just a silver mine. But basically, they are doing a bet like this that, it's pretty clear they're not betting on silver going back to 50 and staying there. So it's pretty interesting setup. And like, if you're looking for, hey, this is close to a royalty or close to a company like that where there's not much operating risk, Wheaton Precious Metals is one that's definitely more exposed to silver than something like Franco-Nevada. So for people that are just looking for, hey, this is a good company, really good business model, like the royalty place is an interesting place to be looking. So I don't own any Wheaton, but it's one thing I will say is that the royalty and streaming plays, they typically have like very high valuations. So it's something you have to get comfortable with. But again, if you're expecting a bull market, like there's going to be a shot to buy some of these things, I think, here in the next couple of weeks, if you're looking at it. But that's kind of the thing that I think is interesting on the metals is there's so many different fluctuations. And I think it's easy to get caught up in like the short-term moves sometimes where it's like, okay, things are moving up quickly, down quickly. But I think it really makes sense to say, hey, like, what is the 1 year view? What is the 3 year view? Like, look ahead to where you think it's going. And it's hard to see how we're not going to take a run at triple digits and basically see silver below 100 for the last time at some point here in the next year or two. So that's kind of what I think on that. But one of the other things I thought was interesting, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to this, but we basically started to see a lot of the energy equities really start to move. And that's with oil at mid 60s, depending on Brent or WTI, whichever you look at. And you got stuff like OAH basically at post-COVID highs. And let me see if I can pull it up here. Do this. Yeah. So basically when you have basically a move that, I'll switch to weekly here, a little bit cleaner. When you see a chart like this, right?
And it might help, Ben, if you double click right where your mouse is right now. There you go.
There we go. This is not a chart that gets stuck in the mud at 400 whenever it does decide to work its way sideways and then move, right? And if you look at some of the different components, the big guys, the bellwethers, the Exxon, Chevron, some of these different companies, it doesn't make any sense to most people that XLE is breaking out to all-time highs with oil at 65, but it's kind of the same look for XOP, which has a fair has some more oil, small oil shitco's in it, so it's got some work to do to get to all-time highs. But point is, like, I think there's signs that like money is rotating beneath the surface, and if you look at where kind of the commodities, how these patterns tend to play out, is gold and silver and the precious metals tend to move first. Then the base metals start to move, whether it's copper, nickel, iron, and energy tends to go last. And this kind of gets into the setup with like the Fed chair change, with the different policies they're putting in place, like the whole run it hot attitude. I think there's a very good chance that we start to see like that the economy actually start to accelerate, at least on the numbers they report, to where it's okay. We need, like, oil demand is going up, like all these different inputs on the manufacturing side. Like we've already been seeing like truck tenders. So basically, like the cost it takes to get freight move from one place to another, like the rejection rate has basically been exploding. And if you look at some of those trucking stocks, it's been interesting ride here recently. But what I'll say is, it seems like there are certain parts of the manufacturing and like real physical goods economy that is starting to wake up. So that's going to flow through to energy. You're not going to see it oil at 65 indefinitely. So
yeah, like the Russell, I think somebody pointed out that the Russell was doing okay. I think it was like a Tom Luongo type conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I haven't looked at it, but that would fit, right?
Yeah, I think was it IWM? Yeah, that thing's breaking out to all-time highs. You have equal weight S&P basically being much stronger in recent months than just the tech S&P, I think. Same with NASDAQ. NASDAQ, like these, like the way I kind of look at some of the stuff going on in the tech world, and this is where like everyone's freaking out about AI killing various parts of the software as a service business. There have been some like massive haircuts in just like the last like 2 weeks to a month on like everything from like there's like Adobe,
Salesforce.
I mean, all these.
Yeah, everybody. Like, yeah, Adobe's another one.
It's been just a bloodbath in tech land, and it's been quick. It's been like, okay, you wake up and you're down like what, 20% or if not more in some of these names, and since the start of this year, right? So like 6 weeks,
right?
And these are like mega cap companies, not like the smaller ones. Like they've been taken out and beaten even worse. So,
sure.
This is where I think it'd be interesting to hear your guys' thoughts on the whole AI thing. I like wasn't really using it at all, and recently started to basically use it as like a enhanced search engine. Like I'm not asking it to write any of my work or anything like that. I think it's not well designed for like creative output like that. But
I've been using it to manage my entire life, especially gathering my thoughts and what to think.
Yeah.
I've had it, just give me like, like psychological advice as well, and how I should treat other people. And it also reads out my astrological signs as well, and gives me my daily horoscopes.
It's a good therapist. Yeah.
I would say as workflow, when it comes to content creation, it's very helpful. So the kind of graphics and videos that you can use it to create used to take like literally days, and now it's done in minutes. So, each thing to its strengths. But that and enhanced search engine, maybe gathering data. In order to use AI properly, like you have to know how to ask the right question. So I think there's plenty of application for it. My understanding is that it's actually hindering production in a lot of workplaces because people are over reliant on it, and then a bunch of work has to be redone. And I think that's, and this is going to sound rather condescending, but I think it's dumb people using AI.
Yeah.
Well, what are you trying to say, Willis?
What you talk about, Willis?
That's the thing that I find interesting is like, I was pretty much a naysayer on it for a long time. I still think, my opinion on this part hasn't changed, that the CapEx being spent on data centers and all this, spending, the chips, all that, like that's going to turn out to be an economic, mistake. But mean, we'll find out in a year or two, but whatever it is. What I will say is the actual technology has come far enough now with like on the search side, whereas like you said, if you ask the right questions and then you refine it like over time where it's like, it'll like blast out the output and then you like clarify certain points and then like do it over and over. It's extremely helpful for some of these different processes. And I think that's, that acceleration is going to be very interesting for a lot of these businesses that don't have any hard assets. They don't have any, like real physical products. They've got an idea and they've had like basically a lock-in for their software as a service business or their like automated workflow process, like this like word salad, like kind of approach to marketing these software things. I think it's going to be a bit of a shit show in software land for a while.
Well, I can add a little bit to that. I have some friends in like cybersecurity, places like that, guys who code, and there are a lot of coders who basically, one guy said it's the best part and the worst part of his job because they can use it a lot for putting things together, but then they have to refine it as well. So the other thing I'll add to it is there's one app out there called Suno, and I watched a guy do he just put in like 3 simple chords. By the way, let me back up. Suno is for music making, right? So he did 3 simple piano chords, gave it a prompt, and it put out a song that blew my mind. Now, it's sure there are humans that make better music, don't get me wrong, but I've been looking at I'm a musician. I've been looking at AI music for years and talking to some family who are musicians as well, because that just runs my family. And so we were just like a couple of years ago, like, this is never going to be anything, right? This sucks. Like, and then within 2 years, it's totally feasible. It's as good as any popular music that you have out there because all this stuff's trash anyway. You know, pop music is not that great. So,
How dare you?
Yeah. Well, what are you going to do? So long story short, and what made me think of this is what you said, Ben, the progress it's made. Right? Like what it has become in a 2-year period, the next 5 years are going to be out of control. The progress they've made so far is remarkable. So I would not sleep on AI.
Yeah, it's powerful. No doubt about it.
It's powerful. I mean, and sure, it's,
it really helps my life. Apart from all the jokes I was saying, it's actually a powerful component. But that's being said, it's like the way, like, the math does a math in terms of what its capability and its power is versus what companies like OpenAI and Larry Ellison's company Oracle and all these assholes are having these ridiculous capexes. Like it doesn't make any sense.
We all know what that is, though. That's
what
like
we all
Bitcoin.
know exactly.
Yeah, that's
exactly
like Bitcoin.
right.
Like everybody put a bunch of money in Bitcoin because BlackRock bought some, right? Well, guess who's V? Didn't you say? Well, I don't want to.
175 million.
Yeah, I don't want to betray anything that we're only talking about with Algo Factory, but let's just say that I think Bitcoin's a bit overvalued right now. We'll leave it at that. I was like, there's like 3 things in the last week where like in the last 4 months, V said like this and that, and I'm like, no way. And all of a sudden I started looking at the numbers. I'm like, that motherfucker was right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you look at Bitcoin and there's a bunch of people that are like basically perma-bulls on that. And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there's, with some of the like structural changes that have happened in Bitcoin, I wouldn't be surprised if you're going to see that basically struggle for a long time, if not turn into the same situation with gold, where it's like, hey, this is now controlled by Wall Street with futures and options and swaps. And I mean, go down the list of all the like derivatives and ETFs. Like
it's going to come to the point where somebody's going to take Michael Saylor behind the tool shed and put him out.
Dude, Michael Saylor
it's gonna be at that point, man.
I mean, look, I got respect. The guy's got a set of gonads.
He's got a set of balls, bro.
Yeah, he's got a set of balls, but anytime there's like a religious devotion to something, I'm like, okay, danger. All right, we're now in cult
danger.
Yeah. Well, especially for something that's just effectively like lines of computer code, right? If you're right, I don't agree with Peter Schiff on everything, but do I understand where he's coming from on his approach to the metals? Like, it makes sense because you have something printed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
you
mean,
got
it can't be
something
printed.
to point to.
Yeah,
go ahead,
exactly. You got something physical. It can't be printed, and it's like got these properties that are like it basically made it money since the beginning of time for gold. So, like, do I understand Peter Schiff and his approach there? Like, yes. Like, am I as religious as he is on gold? Like, no. But that makes more sense to me than some of these guys that have a approach that's similar for something like Bitcoin, because like if you think there's not like certain technologies or certain ways to get in as a backdoor, even like whether or not it's Epstein as a backdoor and like has been buying off the programmers, like that's been talked about on social media, or some of these different things going on, like I have no idea if that's real or fake, but like is it possible that there are powerful people with like technologies that no one knows about that are able to steal or
I got to push back on
like
that.
some
And
of
the
these
reason
things?
I got to push back. If they could have done it, they would have done it by now. The thing about it is that Bitcoin was looked at by the eggheads before all the big money bought into it. So I doubt there's backdoors or any of that stuff, because I think it would have been found. It's open source. Like anybody
Yeah,
can
it
look
would've
at
been
the
on the
code. So I
Yeah.
don't think it's a backdoor issue. I think that it.
Well,
I
some
think that
parts of the country it is.
well, and Epstein loves his backdoors, but what I would say is to keep it really simple. I think Bitcoin, V, you're the one that came up with the information. And from what I can see, I agree with it. MIT, NSA, they made it, right?
SHA-256 is NSA. The actual blockchain is, if you look at it very carefully, it's actually copyrighted to MIT. It's a cypherpunk thing. But here's the thing: you don't need a backdoor to control Bitcoin.
Well, but that's
all you
not
need
wrong.
to do is control the supply via the wallets. Wash trade the hell out of it. You control the price. It's just that simple. And
Right.
it's such a stupid coin. It's clunky. It's slow. It's not scalable. It's used for nothing. And we need to stop using this terminology, cryptocurrencies. It started off as a cryptocurrency. What the heck it is right now, God only knows, right? Because what is the definition of currency? Utility. Anybody utilizing it? Except these crypto bros who are jerking off to a price moving up and down. It's pure speculation. It has no use whatsoever. It's not fungible, has no utility. It's not scalable. It's practically illiquid, right? It's a joke. It's terrible. It's so shitty, man.
I got to push back, but I think you'll like it. So think of it this way. If it was invented by MIT NSA, and why is it that like in 2013, why is it in 2013 and 2014, you have all these like exchanges popping up in the ass end of the world where you could trade Bitcoin for cash? Doesn't make any sense. For something to proliferate, that's some new technology that takes a much longer time than 1 or 2 years. I know somebody was mining Bitcoin in Ukraine in like 2012, 2013. We both know him, V.
Yeah.
So why is it that this? I'm going to tell you why I think it is. I think it was just a way to wash money, or at least get money across borders for dark ops. So it was very usable and it was very fungible, but that's because there was an agreement made by the right people to make it fungible and usable for black ops. And in order to make that work, of course, they're going to let it out into the wild and be used, for Silk Road and all this and that and the other. But the minute that all of that ends, that Bitcoin's done. The minute that they have some other technology or another way to send money
and here's the thing
of Africa for some dark op, Bitcoin's going to be done. And I think that
that's already over.
It got catapulted into, okay, let's now take this over while people are still hot about it, and let's make it the new financial toy for everybody to play with. We can suck money out of them, and then after that, they could just leave it to die. That's what I think.
Well, it's already happened, because when you look, if you go on the dark web, right, and folks, let me explain something to you. The internet that you and I use that's only 4% of the actual internet, just like our brain, right? It's only 4% of the actual internet, right? So they have us in these internet ghettos, and we actually think we're on the internet. No, you're not. You're on Google, you're on Netflix, you're on Amazon, you're on Microsoft, right? That's basically what the hell you're on. So you're not on the internet. The dark web is the real internet, okay? And they condition you into thinking that only criminals and pedophiles and human traffickers and narco terrorists hang out over there. There is a plethora of a huge world out there with all sorts of stuff, and that's the real internet. It's the wild, wild west. It's internet as we remember from back in the 90s, so to speak. Now, on that internet, there's not a single vendor, and I think McAfee made this point before he died, John McAfee. There's not a single vendor that's on there that will even accept Bitcoin as payment. Why? Because it's no longer fungible. It lost that fungibility. It's not that scalable and slow as shit. Right? When you're doing a Bitcoin trade, and anybody who's been involved in any sort of sizable transactions of BTC will tell you that you got to wait around hours for it to settle. So a lot of these guys, they've moved over to Monero, they've moved over to Zcash, they moved over to other protocols on the dark web, right? And so if the criminals or the vendors and everybody else who's a legit player who's just not wanting to play along with mainstream institutions and or government already moved out of Bitcoin, what does that tell you about dark ops operations? They've moved out of Bitcoin as well.
Long time ago.
Exactly.
They were
because
first.
Still
they were in first and they're out first.
Exactly correct. So now it's guys like Michael Saylor.
Michael
Saylor that's buying it.
Yeah. Michael Bagholder. That's gonna be
it's brutal, dude. Michael Bagholder.
Michael Bagholder is the only one holding it. That's who's holding BTC.
Yeah. I don't. And what do you guys think? Like, I'd like both your opinions on. I know a lot of people even now, like, I don't want to trade in Forex. I don't know. I don't want to hold fiat currency. Like, motherfucker, this is not 2016 anymore. Like, why are you talking like this? You're so far behind. Like, dude, it just bothers me. People like in 2017, it was believable. Like, it's 2026. Dude.
Yeah.
So how many of you guys think that like they'll still use it for all of the people, like the normies who find out, 10 years later and this is the new revolution? Like, it's got to be around for at least another cycle, like to play around with it, right? It's not going to just disappear overnight.
Yeah. I think to your earlier point, what you're saying about the technology not being broken to this point, I think that's a good one. I guess I'll maybe throw in the caveat that we might be developing some things here in the next several years that could break that technology. And then you see the immediate collapse that you kind of mentioned. But as far as like how long, like, I don't know, like I would guess you get another like several years to get some of these people to wake up and realize like, hey, I just wasted 10 years like being like basically religiously attached to one asset that turns out has changed in a massive way from where it was like a decade ago, right? And that's the thing about all these cryptocurrencies is there's always going to be change. There's always going to be new technologies. There's always going to be different things being developed. And like that, I think, is why people are attracted to it's like hard commodities like gold and silver because they don't change, right?
When you talk about things that could break Bitcoin, are you talking about quantum computing or?
Well, I mean, different computing technologies, different things on that front, but also like what happens if you get a more advanced, more liquid, like global payment rail where it's, hey, this thing kills Swift and this thing kills Bitcoin, and like, what are we doing holding this?
We've had those for a long time. That's been
I'm saying mass adoption of some of those things.
Oh, well, I mean, that's just a decision that gets made, right? Like the technology's been there for a long time. Bitcoin is a dinosaur. So I think that's on top of that, any technology that's actually going to break Bitcoin is probably going to also break your bank and any other currency out there. So, I don't think the technology could break Bitcoin argument is like segregated solely to Bitcoin. I think that means that everything is screwed.
You know what's not screwed? Physical cash, physical gold, physical silver.
Gold. Yep. Yeah, that's just it. Those are the only things that any kind of computing can't break.
And guess what's number one in the world right now is the currency du jour that's used for black operations, drug trafficking, and human trafficking.
The United States dollar.
That's right, buddy. The good old greenback.
Yeah, it's always been. That never changed.
Always has been. Never changed. Correct.
Yeah. I think there's more fraud with Amazon gift cards than there's ever been with Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Now, I'm saying that like without looking at the numbers, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. Well, that's the that's the thing with all this stuff. I think we're going to get some massive changes, whether we like it or not, over the next decade. I don't know. To your point on like crashing banks and crashing like financial systems, I haven't really thought about this that much, but I don't know if I have a strong view on if those updated systems crash like the US dollar and some of these different financial currencies. Like, I would think that the dollar would still exist inside that new system, but I don't know. It'd be interesting to hear what your thoughts are on that.
No, the dollar's not going away. It'll still be there. It won't be the world reserve currency anymore, and which is fine. I think we're moving to a commodity-backed world. And I think energy has a big part of that. Huge part of it.
Yeah, I agree.
You guys,
I think it's going to come down to some form of productivity, which commodities are a literal expression of your country's productivity. I'd like to think that manufacturing would be a part of that. But then again, I'd like not to think that because that's going to put us way behind.
Yeah. Have you guys looked at some of the stuff going on with Palantir lately? I know it's like the
whole thing with Discord. Did you guys hear about that Discord? The whole Discord age verification they're trying to do is actually backed by Palantir.
Oh, stand by, V. Tell us what's going on with that. You're saying that. Wait, start over with that.
So the whole thing that's happening with Palantir, with Discord, where Discord wants like age verification and whatnot. That is directly linked to Palantir. Palantir is doing something there with Discord because look, it's a giant dragnet. That's what Palantir is. It's a giant dragnet, and they want ins on every single social media platform out there, which is ultimately what they want. They want a digital ID. I mean, Congress. I think the assholes in Congress passed the car kill switch, where they can do a kill switch on your car. That's been passed.
Actually they didn't pass it. They let it continue. It's been around.
Oh yeah, there you go. So they let it continue. Next is going to be your house. So if people don't wake up, this is the stealth encroachment of tyranny, and people need to wake up while we're all discussing who's who and this that, and we're being distracted while all sorts of the most nefarious characters are building the worst sort of prison for all of us, But that's the whole Palantir thing.
Well, there's also this here. I'll fire up the screen share, but apparently, and again, take it with a grain of salt. You see it on social media. Apparently, why is it zoom back out? That's annoying. Apparently, there's a hack where Palantir, Peter Thiel, Alex Karp are basically like surveilling world leaders and like doing a whole bunch of shit to, basically engineer the modern version of what Uber had way back in the day. Like you've got files on everybody and all this stuff. And like I was talking,
we have to have that. It's the only way to fight the Antichrist, the gay Peter Thiel says.
Yeah, I guess.
It says the Antichrist.
It says the Antichrist.
Yeah.
It's interesting because in scriptures it says the Antichrist is somebody who doesn't have a desire for women.
My guess is that whenever that does show up, he'll have a lot more charisma. But
yeah, that's true. It also says that as well. It's very charismatic. Feels as dry as fucking dry toast, man. Oh my god,
it's pretty hard to listen to him. I remember someone put together a reel of every time he said on the Joe Rogan podcast. I think it was like 18 minutes long. But anyway,
it's a Buddhist mantra at this point.
Yeah, but
I thought he was expressing his taste for the Magic Mike movie.
Oh my God. I don't want to know, man.
Brutal. But yeah, that was one of the things that like I've talked to some people recently, and they said they're not all that impressed with some of these new companies like Palantir and Anduril as far as their capabilities.
It's all bullshit. Like that guy Lucky Palmer, that grease monkey, that greasy looking bastard with his stupid mullet and his little flavor saver strip on his bottom chin, right? His Hawaiian shirt on. That guy came off of Central Casting. He came off of Central Casting. Oh, I founded my company in a garage. Yeah, okay, we believe you. That's like the CIA talking script. I found my company in a garage. Folks, if you ever hear some asshole saying that he found his company in his mom's garage, run for the hills. Now, this Dicky boy wants you to believe. And I seen an interview with this guy, and you realize how much of a dicky boy this guy is, right? This little cretin, right? He's like, well, if the U.S. ever gets into a war, we'll be out of munitions in 8 days. But Andoril will have munitions for the next day and the next month and the next year, and we'll keep hitting the enemy as hard as we can. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Who's making your shit, you idiot? And people have actually tested his crap, right? It is third-rate garbage. Absolute trash garbage. But the American stock pair, but Wall Street loves it because Wall Street could sell that off to retail investors and they could all jerk off together. It's disgusting.
Well, you can't. The way I understand it is that no country on Earth can build drones at scale without Chinese parts.
You can't do it. Can't do it. Have you seen the drone shows that they put on in China? Have you seen the latest robot show they put on?
Oh yeah.
Holy moly.
We could put that on, Ben. Ben, it's kind of your show here, but if you're done with your content, we can always throw that up.
Yeah, I've got one last piece on the screen share, but would love to have you guys throw that up if I can get the.
Yeah, let's do Ben. Go ahead and I'll throw that up there, and then you can have that ready to go.
Yep.
Let me
ready to go.
Busted my tab that I had open. Yeah, so
help
there
you zoom in
was
on your screen shares.
Yeah,
Greasy Palmer.
See, Lucky Palmer. There's a joke in there somewhere.
It was
Palmer Lucky. Whatever the hell. What stupid name is that?
Rosie Palmer. I mean, he was like some guy that worked at Facebook, and then Peter Thiel, after he got fired from Facebook, Peter Thiel, slurped him up and.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was the last thing I had saved on the side, but I found it interesting. Is like there's all this talk about the Epstein files. We don't have to get into the actual nitty gritty on that, but if this is accurate, like what they have opened up from 99 to 2001, that's pretty interesting as far as like there being a huge gap in some of the documents. So
what happened in 2001?
Yeah, was there a certain event that was maybe very world changing?
And did a certain guy make a bunch of money on his insurance policy?
Yeah.
And was he from a certain group of people?
Well, there's now video circulating of Howard Lutnick, and it's interesting to see his crocodile tears over kind of what happened. So it's like there's a whole bunch. There's a whole bunch of things where it's like you go back and it's like, okay, you see a little piece that's new all the time, and someone goes and digs up. Like, I don't know where people find this stuff, but it's like Howard Lutnick from 25 years ago. And so he's still like, classic stereotype, but you look at him and you watch the way he's like talking about what happened. It just like comes off as like, it seems a lot like Erica Kirk. Like if you guys like hear her talking,
sure.
And it's like that same thing where it's like, there's something off there, So
it's disingenuous, and that's a compliment. That's being generous to say, right?
Yeah, that's yeah. No, I'd love to see if you guys have that video ready to go. What you guys were?
Yeah. Absolutely. Let me bust that out real quick.
Bust it out, V. Bust it out.
I'm gonna bust it out for you guys. Here we go.
Oh, please don't. So we're not Peter Thiel types.
No, sorry.
We're not potential like antichrists.
Look at this.
Well, those robots look pretty real, man.
Here we go.
Man, they really stole our technology so well.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, they really stole our stuff. Look
at that.
Dude.
Insane.
You know how much advancement you got to get to this level?
They had like some Boston Dynamics version, and it tried to do one flip, and it like ended up on the ground, flipping around.
Apparently they fixed that though. They got the that was like early version, the Boston Dynamics one.
Oh, okay. Well, it's impressive what they've done over here too, but I mean, I don't think it's at this level as far as I've seen.
Well, and even if it is at the same level, we don't have the manufacturing capacity.
Exactly.
We can't do the scale.
Yeah.
Yeah, their supply chains over there just must be insane.
Are you kidding me? The robot and the human are dancing. Look at this. Are you kidding me?
It's amazing. And the robots are
Wow.
in perfect synchronization. Synchronization, I mean.
What? What? Oh my god! I can't believe this. This is insane. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it is pretty impressive.
So they really stole our tech, man. They did such a good job stealing our tech.
Yeah, for all the Americans with the 1991 worldview, y'all better wake up.
Wake up.
Oh,
Dude,
better wake
Yeah.
up.
there's some guy on
Speaking
Twitter.
of 1991, I saw that apparently that's how China originally got, like, again, a lot has changed since then, but that's how China originally got a lot of the drone technology, is that Israel sold them like all the secrets, basically. It's like,
So the way I heard it was like in the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, Jonathan Pollard, right? He was one of the biggest guys who did it too. He was a major mole.
Yes, a lot of Israelis actually infiltrated into the Silicon Valley tech, which we were top notch in the late 80s, early 90s, even probably
Best
after
in the
that.
world.
And they infiltrated, and then all of a sudden the Chinese just started ending up with our technology, and of course now what they've done is they have a society that values education. Their kids want to be scientists, and now that crop of kids is actually now 20s, 30s. You know, they're in their 20s and 30s working on this stuff, and they have pride in their education. You know, the kids over here, they want to do makeup tutorials and all those damn content creating bastards. Oh, that's us. Never mind. But either way, like when I was young in the 80s, you know, that was like they were still pushing science to kids like me. You know, that was what we did in the 80s and the 70s. We were pushing science and math, and that just ended. Just ended.
Now we push how to put condoms on a cucumber. That's what we're pushing these days.
Yeah, that's not a joke. Like,
no,
you know. So it's
Ben, did you know that what in the butt is actually a course taught in Harvard? Did you know that?
Well, you teach it, don't you?
Shut up, man.
You're just advertising right now.
I'm an adjunct professor.
You like to add your junk to the class.
Oh my god!
Off the rails.
yeah. We made it a couple of weeks without doing that, and then we fired up like this.
I had to go there.
No,
this is rogue, man. Like, we like to have fun, dude. There's a lot of channels that are afraid. We ain't afraid of nothing. I ain't afraid.
Yeah.
Well, here, this is on the latest. This is what our teens are being taught. Okay, this is Teen Vogue.
Oh, no.
Look at Teen Vogue. This is Teen Vogue. Oh yeah. So what in the butt?
Yeah, enough.
They blindfold you. They stick something in your ear, and you got to guess what it is.
Okay, let's give Ben a chance to bring the show back. I don't
know how I follow that up, but what I will say is I think we're going to see the university system either change dramatically or be left behind, because like a lot of the affirmative action, a lot of these different policies, a lot of the classes they teach, a lot of the administrative staff, a lot of the policies on student debt and what that's allowed. Like, I think that is that's either going to change and they make a decision to change it, or someone else is going to force it on them with a better process. So I think there's a lot of things that can be done to make the university system do what it was actually designed for, like 50, 60 years ago. But you're going to have to make some major changes on how things are structured. And you go about doing things. So,
well, I'll tell you what. I think if you made those changes, you would also eliminate a major tool that the left has for subverting the minds of young people. And I think the first thing that happens is no student loans except for STEM degrees. And if you don't get your degree, then you have to make payments right away. Secondly, no more federal funding, like for these universities, because if you look at Hillsdale, they don't take money. Like if they do, it's not that much, and therefore Hillsdale out in Michigan, they can teach how and what they want. And
the thing too is that with the student loans, if you basically, instead of guaranteeing them at the federal level, you made the universities guarantee them, right? How many universities would loan for a $200,000 like student tuition over the course of like 4 years for political science?
They wouldn't.
Right? That's the thing. And you see tuition prices naturally have to come down due to that. Yeah. Right.
No, they'll only bring the best people. They'll only bring.
That's the thing, is it would bifurcate different degrees, different educations, different universities, and it would actually make some of these changes start to happen naturally.
Yeah, and the things that they teach in the political science, that shouldn't cost any money anyway. You could go learn all that shit off the internet, really. But if you want some accredited university, let it be a government program that none of us have to pay for. It can survive on charity. There's no reason for those degrees besides socialization anyway. But I could really waste a lot of time on that topic.
Yeah, no, I think it is a good place to wrap up, though, because you look at what we're going to need as a country, and it's going to start with younger generations, and that's like if we don't fix some of these problems, like big problems, then we're going to have to we're gonna have to figure out how to fix them at some point. Basically, it's not a decision of can it be fixed. It's like it has to be fixed, right?
Well, yeah, we'll simply no longer be a country.
Yeah, I think there's certain changes I see that people are waking up to how like dire the situation is, but they're trying to walk the fine line of not having the masses in a panic. So like when I was talking to a couple people this weekend on like the state of different supply chains for commodities, like the U.S. is in a tough spot. Like, can it be fixed? Yes. How long is it going to take? Well, we'll find out, right? So that's the that's the big thing to kind of pay attention to, is like I think there's some things heading in the right direction. The hole that we have to dig out of, though, is deep.
Yeah.
Well, they got a class for that at Harvard. No, let's leave it there. Ben, can you tell us where to find you? As far as your work, website. I know it's in the description, but there are some people who may not know how to look at the description. So spell it out.
Yeah. If you guys want to find me, you can just look up Ben Kelleran on Twitter. You can also find my Substack, which is Contrarian Korner, 2Ks. If you want the audio version of the podcast, you can find it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Also put those up on YouTube. So those are the best places. Definitely come check it out. Even if you are only looking to be a free subscriber, I think there's a lot of good conversations and podcasts with a bunch of different guests that people will get value from.
Dude, you have a really good podcast. I watch it. I don't see every episode, but I've seen some really good stuff. I know that one like 4 or 5 months ago with Luke Groman, or is it Gorman?
Groman. Yeah,
it is Groman. Yeah, that was, dude. I would love to. That guy's got a brain.
Yeah, I'm reaching out to him to try and get him back on here soon. So we'll see if I can pull that again. Yeah,
I'd love to have him on here. Just that dude has. He has everything on lock in a certain way. Like he understands flows. He understands what works, what doesn't. Hey, if you do this, that's going to happen. Like, I think he does it in a simplified way too. So hopefully you get him back on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't mean to sit here and glaze him. It's just, that's how good he is. So the Gorilla, can you get us out of here?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to thank all you guys for listening in. I'm the Gorilla. He's the Cowboy. And of course, that's Ben Kelleran. Links in the description box. Check out his work. Keep it locked and loaded right here. ESW Rogue News, Exit Strategy World. Check us out, and we're out.